Hello, everybody. My name is Roy Nemer of Wrestleview.com. This is the SmackDown Post Show number 23. Michael Jordan's number 23, legendary, the GOAT. This is not the GOAT in front of you, it's the tribal chief of Wrestleview.com. My name is Roy Nemer. I'm your SmackDown recapper. Thank you, everybody, for joining. We have a couple of people in the house as well. We have Andrew, we have Quentin in the house. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining. If it's your first time, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If it's not the first time, hey, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We got a lot of stuff coming your way. And it's SmackDown, it's the post show. A lot to talk about. We're on the road to WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, in just over 2 weeks' time. The build-up starting, and you know what? I'm liking it. I am liking it so far, and let's get to it. Let's get to the chat. Andrew, what's up, buddy? How are you? I hope you're well. We got Sex Machine in the house. How are you, buddy? Hope you're good as well. And I saw Quentin in there as well. I hope you are doing good. I hope everybody's doing good. Like I said, it's the road to WrestleMania. 2 weeks' time, Royal Rumble. Let's get to it. Let's get to the show. We got a lot to get to, a lot of talking points, and let's just get to it. So first things first, we're in Omaha, Nebraska, and we have the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the Usos, who come out and they cut a promo. They hype up kind of the New Day, right? About how they respect the New Day. They beat the New Day last week, and essentially it's the New Day that gets the best out of them. But the Usos are still champ. They're still standing, and they're looking for challengers. And this leads to an interesting four-way match, tag team four-way match, at least interesting on paper. Spoiler alert, did not really enjoy the match. But what I do enjoy is my man, Quentin Walters. There you go. The SmackDown Post Show, the flagship of Wrestleview. I do enjoy it. I love the flattery. I'm not sure how Mike and Victoria are gonna feel about that. They've been flying that Wrestleview flag pretty high. But I'll take this one. But much love, much respect to Mike and Victoria. Catch them there on Monday night right here on YouTube, and they're great to watch. Trust me, great to watch. Immediately following Raw, the Raw Post Show. You don't want to miss it. So back to the show, back to SmackDown. The Usos are out. They cut a promo, and it leads to a tag team fatal four-way match. And I'm not a fan of these matches. I just find it so dumb. You have four teams and only two competitors in at the same time, and one has to tag in the other. Why not just make it a fatal four-way, right? Four opponents all in the ring, and they could tag their partners in and out. That's not the case. So we do get the teams, and the teams, it's not. Look, I get it. I know what they're trying to do. It didn't work. So we got Los Lotarios versus Cesaro and Mansoor versus Jinder Mahal and Shanky versus the Viking Raiders. Not a very good match. Just kind of wonky, kind of all over the place. A lot of tags that didn't make sense. And at one point, I thought we didn't even get any tags. It was just kind of whoever was in the ring was the legal competitor. Ultimately, we get the Viking Raiders who come out victorious, and it's going to be the Viking Raiders eventually up against the Usos for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. They didn't specify if it's going to be at the Rumble. They just kind of mentioned, eventually they're going to get a title shot. Eventually. So nothing confirmed yet. The Viking Raiders get the win. And this match right here just kind of shows you the lack of depth in the tag team division on SmackDown. Andrew, take a look what Andrew wrote. Andrew thought the Usos mentioned roundabout way the Gorillas of Destiny on commentary. I think they did. Mention that. And Quentin, this match put me straight to sleep. It was not a good start. It was certainly not a good start. Like I said, the match was kind of all over the place. The Viking Raiders win. That's cool, but unless they actually decide to really push the Viking Raiders, there's no way they're getting the titles off of the Usos. And I would be surprised if the Usos kind of take a backseat to the Viking Raiders, especially going into WrestleMania. I know WrestleMania is about 2-3 months away, But you got to think WWE trusts, or think anyways, that the Usos are a bigger draw, they're bigger names than the Viking Raiders, especially going into WrestleMania. So yeah, I mean this is a good point, Andrew. We have no tag teams on either show really. I mean, you have RK Bro, you have the Street Profits, you got Otis and Gable, and that's about it. Ziggler and Rude have been there forever, and I don't think anyone really takes them seriously. No disrespect to them, absolutely nothing at all, but they've just lost so many times. They've lost all credibility, in my opinion. And the fact that they're throwing Cesaro with Mansoor, what are they doing, right? Really, really, what are they doing? Then you look at the other tag teams. I mean, Jinder Mahal and Shanky. Does anyone really think that they're going to get pushed to the point where people take them as an actual threat in the tag team division? Unfortunately, I think not. I think not. Andrew, Andrew was wishing, sorry, Seth and Kevin form a tag team at some point. I mean, that's not going to happen, especially with Seth being in the Universal title picture. And we're going to get to that in just a little bit. I thought that was a great, great ending to the show. So, despite the fact that the start of the show probably wasn't the best, it ended pretty solidly. So, and there's some stuff in the middle as well. So keep your eyes open, and I want to get your comments in just a couple of moments. But let's take a look. Let's go back to this. So, my thoughts of this are, the Usos are going to defend their titles against a new team. Not sure which tag team they'll go with, but they mentioned a title match down the road, maybe not at the Royal Rumble. So these were my initial thoughts. Ultimately, it is the Viking Raiders, and I mean, the Viking Raiders getting the push in what was just a bad opening match. I know I mentioned it a couple of moments ago, but it really was. It wasn't a good watch. This one was not a good watch, and I was afraid that it would set the tone for the rest of the show. Thankfully, it didn't. I thought the rest of the show was actually pretty good. And up next, we had Sami Zayn in his In Zayn promo, I guess, or segment. And I want everybody's opinion on this, please. Everybody's opinion on Sami Zayn and Sami Zayn's character, because I remember when we first started the show several months back. We started the show, last year. We were talking about Sami Zayn's character, the conspiracy theorist, all of that stuff, and it was interesting. There were definitely some elements that were like, okay, you know what, this could be fun. Let's see what they do with this. And then at one point, they just kind of lost the plot, and Sami, I was gonna say Seth, but Sami at one point mentioned the movie trailer and his movie coming out, or his documentary coming out, and nothing came of it. And this was 6, 7, 8 months ago. Nothing came of it. We're in 2022 now, middle of January. Sami Zayn is exactly the same place he was 8 months ago, 7, 8 months ago. And while this segment, and we're going to get to this segment in just a second, while this segment was fun and the build up to it was interesting, they got to do something with the Sami character. They got to pull the trigger, right? They really, really got to pull the trigger. And having seen some little hints of potential matches from Mania tonight, writes Andrew, definitely. They definitely dropped a couple of hints regarding WrestleMania tonight. And this was one of them. This was certainly one of them. There you go. Hey, Stephen Butler writes, Sammy's segment went way too long. It really did, especially for the payoff. Now, I know that they were not really going to. Well, let's just get into it. Let's explain what happened. If you missed it, if you missed the show, so out comes Sami Zayn, and he says, "Well, Johnny Knoxville thinks he can do what I can do. He can't." He says, "Johnny Knoxville from Jackass cannot do what I can do, but I can do what Johnny Knoxville does." And they set up this little ramp right next to the ring. Sami Zayn is sitting in a shopping cart, and he has these two guys behind him that are getting ready to, push him up the ramp into the ring and all that stuff. And obviously, everyone knew that that's not what was going to happen. There was no way they were going to do that. And I'll agree, this segment went a little too long. It just went a little too long for this one. And the payoff of it was what? Was Nakamura kicking him in the face and Rick Boogs throwing him over the ring. And I thought the crowd felt let down. The crowd definitely hated on Sami Zayn, which was great, which is what you want out of that character, out of that heel character. But just the payoff just wasn't worth it, in my opinion. And I do agree that, yes, this segment went a little bit too long. Andrew mentions, keep thinking we are getting a hardcore jackass match between Knoxville and Sami at Mania. Sami's stock has dropped so far down. It has. I mean, I just mentioned 8 months ago, Sami Zayn is in the exact same spot he was last year. So I don't know if they're going to do something with him. This whole documentary thing, they haven't mentioned in months. So they definitely have dropped the ball there. They definitely have dropped the ball. Joseph Bellotti writes, did Reigns get under Rollins' skin with the Becky Lynch line? Oh, that's going to be something interesting. We are definitely going to talk about that one. Gills fan, good evening. Thank you for joining, buddy. Thank you for joining. A Wrestleview regular right here. Wrestleview regular. As if Boogs didn't look like Freddie Mercury enough, he now has his hair. And this was something that Pat McAfee actually mentioned. He said, what did he call Boogs? The short-haired Freddie Mercury, the legendary Freddie Mercury from Queen. And he definitely did mention that. I do remember. Andrew, he's like a joke character now. So I don't know what they're trying to do with Rick Boogs. Nakamura's on the back burner. I don't know what they're doing with Nakamura, to be honest. Can't remember the last time he had a big match or even a big win or anything of significance, to be honest. And they're not doing anything with him. Rick Boogs is getting some sort of push, I believe, I think. And you got Sami Zayn that's just kind of there. Sami's feuding with Rick Boogs, but Nakamura, yet now Johnny Knoxville. So it's almost as if they don't know what to do with Sami Zayn. Andrew writes, Boogs needs a new outfit. One part of it was showing too much in one place down low. I'd rather not think of that. Sami, I was meaning a joke character, actually. Oh, okay, sorry. You meant Sami Zayn being a joke character. Yeah, it's gotten... I don't want to say they jumped the shark with him, but they've lost the plot with him. They've lost the plot. Yes, thank you very much, Quentin. If you're a new subscriber, like and share this video and follow Everything Wrestling on the Wrestleview website and social media and join in on the conversation. Thank you, and thank you, Quentin. Gills fan, you can tell Zayn has a bit of promo freedom because he said the dreaded wrestling word. Now I'm trying to think. What's that dreaded wrestling word? Help me out here, Gills fan. Help me out. What's that word? What is that word? And Pat playing guitar in Sami's face was funny, yes. So after Rick Boogs threw Sami Zayn over the top rope onto the outside, you had Pat McAfee, who's a big Rick Boogs fan, standing on top of Sami and kind of air guitaring, and Sami telling him, "Oh, get out of the way, get out of the way." And oh yes. All right, that I did mention. Sorry, that I did. I did hear or listen. Yes. So Sami did say wrestling, and we all know it's sports entertainment. It's not wrestling. So let's get back to this. Let's see what we have here. So this Sami Zayn conspiracy theory gimmick is never going to end, right? We just mentioned it. It's never going to end, and they really should pull the trigger on this character and do something. I kind of feel as if Sami Zayn at this point in his career would probably be better off on NXT, just because on SmackDown they're not doing much with him. If they send him to Raw, he's going to get lost in there. Send him to NXT, have him do something, have him continue his conspiracy theory there about how they sent him back to NXT or this and that, and have him become the top guy there, have him become the champ or anything really. Have him do something, the North American champ, the NXT champion, anything. Have him do something, because on SmackDown for Sami Zayn, it's not exactly working. And Andrew, yeah, so I'll mention this. I'll talk about this a little bit. We got again the premier live event instead of pay-per-view, and they've been doing this since day one. So it's no longer pay-per-views. It's now the premium live event. And I believe it was yesterday, I was on the WWE network and on the website. I was on the website on the WWE network, and they replaced the word pay-per-view. So in the menu, it doesn't say pay-per-view anymore. It says premium. And when you select that section, it's going to write premium live events, and it's going to show all of the premium live events or all of the current pay-per-views. But then in regards to the previous pay-per-views, it's actually written pay-per-view. So everything current, they wrote premium live event, and everything that's in the past, they wrote pay-per-view. So little side note, I guess they're really trying to get away from anything that is classic or classic wrestling related, or I mean, not necessarily that pay-per-view is a classic wrestling related word. It's not. It's boxing, MMA, everything, right? Any pay-per-view event. But I guess they're trying to get away from that. So that's my little 2 cents regarding that. Gills fan, the only reason Zayn's going nowhere doesn't bother me much is because he gets so much mic time, more than most. That is true. That's a valid point. Then that's honestly something I didn't really think of. He's getting a lot of promo time, and he's good on the mic. He's not bad by any means, but ultimately you want something from him in the ring, or the character has to evolve. Because if after 8 months a character doesn't evolve, you tend to lose interest. If you look at the Alpha Academy, Otis and Gable, look at them 8 months ago, compare them to now, there's definitely been a massive, massive improvement. Whereas right now with Sami Zayn, he's gone backwards. He hasn't gone forward. So yes, he's getting airtime, but it's not necessarily doing much for his character, unfortunately. Quentin writes, send Sami to NXT Antarctica. It's probably better for him there than it is SmackDown. Probably. Natty and Charlotte said pay-per-view, though. Yeah, I think that's just a habit for them, because Michael Cole said premium live event. So I really think that was probably just a little slip up from Charlotte and Natalya, because they're definitely going with premium live event. It does appear to be that way. And Jonathan, thank you for joining. Hit that like button, everybody, and thank you for joining us, Jonathan. And definitely hit that like button. Gills fan, hell no, Quentin. Zayn is one of the best on the show. Look, Zayn is getting a lot of mic time, which is supposed to be good. But like I said, in my opinion, anyways, and maybe we'll agree to disagree. In my opinion, it's not doing much for his character. Maybe sending him to NXT, maybe not NXT Antarctica, like Quentin mentioned, but potentially sending him to NXT might be that little boost that he needs. But then again, you think of someone like Finn Balor, who went to NXT, did well. They brought him back onto the main roster, got half a push, and Balor hasn't really done much. Has Finn Balor even been on television this year in 2022? Probably not. And so regarding the premium live event, it's I would think Michael Cole having Vince in your ear every 5 seconds yell premium live event. Yeah, it's probably gonna stay in your head for that one. So let's continue. Let's keep it going. So Sami Zayn, and then we get Aaliyah and Natalya. So this was, I want to say, interesting, or they tried to make it interesting. So they have Aaliyah cut a promo backstage, and Aaliyah is as green as grass. As green as grass when it comes to being on the microphone. The ultimate baby face, nicest person, but, and I'm not trying to hate on her, but very little to no charisma. I mean, watching Aaliyah is, the acting is so bad. It's so bad. And she talks about how she, it's always been a dream of hers to be in a WWE ring, and especially against a legend like Natalya. And then Natalya comes in with Guinness Book of World Records, and she says that she holds 3 Guinness Book of World records. That she holds 3 records, and she's gonna make it, 4, and this and that. So we get to the match, and Natalya mentions beforehand about how the fourth record is, the getting the win in the shortest amount of time, which was 3.7 seconds or so. I believe the record was 3.7 or 3.8 seconds. That was the quickest win in WWE history, and how she was going to break it. So you're heading into this match thinking, okay, something's going to give. I mean, the fact that they mentioned it, you're not going to have the match go longer than that, or at least much longer than that. They're both out. They're both in the ring. Natalya attacks Aaliyah before the start of the match. Really, really, attacks her, stomps on her, punches her. And at one point, it appears as though the match is not even going to happen. Aaliyah fights back, soldiers on, says, no, I'm good to go. I'm good to go. Referee calls for the bell. Aaliyah rolls Natalya up, and she gets the win. So she gets the pin in 3.17 seconds, which is a new WWE record. So that's interesting for her, and hopefully potentially leads to something. So Aaliyah gets the win versus Natalya in 3.17 seconds. And I mean, Andrew writes Natty after the match, Tyson. So, Aaliyah gets the win, and it makes you wonder, are they actually going to do something with Aaliyah? Right? We have 2 weeks left before the Rumble. We have 2 SmackDowns left. Are you going to continue to push her? Are we going to have a rematch next week between Aaliyah and Natalya, where Natalya wants revenge, tries to do something? Or are they really going to try and push Aaliyah heading into the Rumble, where she becomes sort of a credible threat, not necessarily winning the Rumble, but maybe someone that you think, okay, well, they're pushing her, so they might actually do something with her in the Rumble match? Or is this just another, throwaway win that's going to mean nothing 2 weeks from now, right? Because the WWE has done a lot of that recently. Let's take a look at what everybody here thinks. Andrew wrote, I thought Aaliyah was having appendicitis, holding her stomach like that. Yeah, there was definitely I something that I caught, and it could have been, potential wardrobe malfunction. Sorry, was at one point when Natalya kicked Aaliyah. Aaliyah was holding, her left chest, her left breast, and she was holding it. And I'm not sure if it was a potential or almost wardrobe malfunction, but she kept going to it more than once. So I don't know if it was a kick, in this area or in the abdominal region or something. But it did look like at one point, yeah, there was something there. Quentin, Aaliyah, yeah, pretty much. The character is so bland, so bland. And Gil's fan, I hope Aaliyah never joins AEW, or they'll have to have a 2-second win for somebody. Oh, Gil's fan, you love to stir up, don't you? You really love to stir up. I like it. But I'm not gonna hate on her. I'm not gonna hate on AEW because there's a time and place for that. It's not, and we're not gonna spend too much time on that. Andrew, boy, we sure don't have women on SmackDown really either show. We had 4 women on the show, actually 6. So we had Aaliyah and Natalya. We have Sonya and Naomi, which has been going on forever. Which I'm liking the build, and it looks like they're definitely going to do it at WrestleMania. And we had Charlotte and Lita, and we're going to get to that in just a little bit. Gil's fan can't help but taking jabs at AEW. Look, if you're joining us for the first time, it's not that we like taking jabs at AEW or we like taking jabs at WWE. We just like to talk, we give our opinions, express ourselves, and sometimes we like to have a little bit of fun, right? It's all fun and games. And oh yes, Andrew, definitely. Shotzi, where's Shotzi? She's in the Rumble apparently. Where is she? Hasn't been on Raw, hasn't been on SmackDown, NXT, nowhere. Right? What brand is she even on at this point? Does anyone really know? Does she even know? What are they doing? They're hyping up the Women's Royal Rumble, and the big star that they have is a Hall of Famer in Lita. And on the women's side on Raw, the biggest name that they have is Beth Phoenix. I mean, granted, there's a return of Alexa Bliss, but I mean, they're pushing Beth Phoenix, and it looks like they're going to push Lita on SmackDown heading into the Rumble. But yeah, this was something regarding Aaliyah, and let's see if it plays out or how it plays out rather. Gil's fan, I thought Shotzi was in the crowd briefly, but it was a fan in costume. There were some people that were dressed up tonight. I saw that. There was someone with, I believe, it was either a face paint or some sort of very colorful mask, which was interesting. I couldn't quite tell which one it was. Now, back to the show for a second, and moving on from Aaliyah and Natalya. I want everybody's opinion on this, and I want everyone's theory on this. So let me know in the chat. Continuing on, backstage, Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville are backstage, and literally all we get is Sonya saying, it's really hot in the room, and Adam kind of ends up playing with the thermostat. So at one point it's cold in the room, then it's hot, then it's cold, then it's like really hot. What are they doing? Is it Alexa Bliss's superpowers where she's going to be back on SmackDown to feud with Charlotte, which I think is something that Andrew mentioned on Twitter, right? It's going to be maybe Alexa versus Charlotte at one point. Did they sign like a secret deal with Bray Wyatt and they're doing something with the Fiend? What are they doing? What are they doing with that? This is exactly my point, Gills fan. They did around 3 or 4 segments just for Sonya to take off her jacket, and Naomi's about to attack her later on, and Adam Pearce says no, and then we have another segment after that where Pearce says, "Oh, it's really really hot." So I don't know what they're doing. I don't know if the payoff is going to be at the Rumble. I don't know who the payoff is going to be or what's going to be, but it definitely looks like they're trying to do something. Andrew thought they would want it to warm since it was cold out. So they mentioned that it was snowing outside in Nebraska, outside of the arena, sorry, in Nebraska, but there was definitely something there. I mean, Naomi telling Sonya, it's cold in this room, just like your heart. And then Adam Pearce saying it's hot, and then it's really hot. So not quite sure what they're trying to do. Not quite sure what they're trying to do with that. If it's someone that's playing with the thermostat, if we get something next week, who knows? Who knows what we're gonna get with that? Gil's fan, it's not like Naomi even got to attack her, so it was a complete waste. So this is my point, and this is why I think we're gonna get more of this next week. This is why I think we're gonna get more of this next week. Because I don't think it was just Naomi playing with the thermostat. I don't think so. Could be something else. I'm not sure. If it is Naomi and they only do it for this week, I'm not quite sure how many fans are gonna catch that and realize that, oh, Naomi was playing with the thermostat to try and get Sonya to take her jacket off so she could attack her. And to be honest, it doesn't make much sense either. I mean, I get it, but it's got to be something. It has to be a little bit better than what we saw tonight. It has to be a little bit better than that. And for sure, I think at this point, it has to be Sonya and Naomi at WrestleMania. Gil's fan, perhaps Stone Cold is coming back. I mean, if they want to get their ratings even higher than they've been lately, that's one way. That's certainly one way of doing it. So back to the show. Let's take another look at this. And then we get Michael Cole, who's in the ring. All right. Michael Cole's in the ring. He introduces Lita. Out she comes. She says she's home. Cole mentions how she's going to be in the Royal Rumble match. And Lita kind of runs through her, her accolades, her accomplishments in the company, about how she was one of the first women to main event Raw with her good friend Trish Stratus. She was the first woman involved in TLC and steel cage matches, and is now in the Hall of Fame. And looking back at Lita's, let's say, achievements and everything, she did a lot in the company. She really, really did a lot in the company, be it with Trish or whoever else, Ivory, or maybe even Mickey James at that point. She really did a lot. And it's crazy to think that, she's never really been in a Rumble match, and now she's going to be in one. And it looks like Lita's not only going to be at the Royal Rumble, but if we're thinking a little bit beyond that, she's going to be at WrestleMania. They definitely planted the seed here for Lita against Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. And this takes my theory away of Charlotte winning the Rumble. So let's go back to the show, and I'm going to get back to the comments. So essentially, Lita's out, runs through her accomplishments, and says, I think I have one good run left in me. That's what she says. I think I have one good run left in me. Out comes Charlotte Flair, who, plays a Charlotte Flair role, puts down Lita, puts herself up, and Lita says, oh, you're big-headed, right? And then the fans start to chant big head, and And Charlotte says, well, what are you going to do? How are you going to take it when I eliminate you at the Royal Rumble? And Charlotte mentions back in 2019 where Lita's good friend Trish Stratus decided she wanted to get back into the ring and become relevant again, and how Charlotte Flair defeated her at SummerSlam, and ultimately Trish Stratus would retire. And she said, well, that's what's going to happen to you, Lita, when I eliminate you from the Royal Rumble match. Lita ends up hitting her with a twist of fate. So Lita comes out of this looking very strong. And you just know that something's going to happen at the Rumble. And my guess is Lita eliminates Charlotte Flair, which will eventually bring us to WrestleMania. So that's my theory. Let's take a look at what everyone here thinks. All right, Andrew. Now we have the potential of a Lita run at Charlotte. Might even have Trish show up again to be with Lita. That could be fun. That could be fun if you have Trish come back. Maybe have her as a special guest referee or something of the sort. But I could definitely see Trish back into the fold somehow, making an appearance. I could definitely see that. Gills fan, I thought the giant head insult was typical WWE writing, but it popped the crowd. So what do I know? And you know what? That's true. I do agree. I thought it was, I'm not going to say lazy, but definitely typical. But sometimes when it's typical or when it's simple or at times maybe even childish, it works. And tonight it worked. It got the crowd. It got the crowd. Andrew, and on social, even getting a Mickie James push for a potential champion versus champion. You know what? If they do that, that could be very fun. That would be opening the door to something new. Let's put it that way. That would be opening the door to something new if they do have like a Mickie James champion versus champion against Charlotte Flair. That would be something definitely new. But either way, whether it's Lita or whether it's Mickie James, I think tonight eliminated any chance of Charlotte Flair winning the Royal Rumble. Gills fan, does Charlotte drop the title? Not a chance. Not a chance. The only way I could see Charlotte dropping the title is if she somehow loses it before WrestleMania, only to win it back at WrestleMania and become a 43rd or 44th time champion or whatever number she's at, 16 or 17 times. That's what I think. Other than that, there's no way Charlotte's dropping the title to Lita. No way. Gills fan, Trish was already retired. Heels lie. Yes, they do. They absolutely do. Andrew, that twist of fate setup was brutal to watch on TV. It was so, I mean, you could tell, obviously it's all scripted, right? But no, you could tell it was a spot that they really wanted to have and end the segment with, but it was so bad. It just didn't work. It did not work. But as for this feud itself, I don't know if I'm looking forward to it. Alita's always been good in the ring. On the mic, maybe not as strong as or not as good as she is in the ring, but their styles could be good to watch together. Could be very fun as long as Lita could still go, right? As long as she's not too rusty. Gills fan, yeah, come on, we don't. No, she probably doesn't even remember. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Does anyone really remember? Probably not. WWE has so many of these stop and go, stop and go, stop and go pushes. At one point, they did it with Otis. They pushed him, then they stopped. Cesaro, Kevin Owens. Are they going to do it again? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Joseph, does it bother you that Flair is in the Royal Rumble match trying to do what Lesnar did? So maybe we could get something like that. Maybe we could get Charlotte Flair do what Lesnar did back in 2020, where she enters the Rumble, dominates, eliminates 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 women, and then Lita eliminates her, and then that could set up the match at WrestleMania. Maybe. Gills fan, she has to beat Ric Flair's record. She has to beat him, and I think she will. I think she will. Just because, Ric Flair's record is not necessarily a WWE record. If you really think of it, Ric Flair did not win 16 WWF or WWE championships. Not a chance. Whereas Charlotte, pretty much every title she won, be it NXT, Raw, or SmackDown, is under the WWE umbrella. So If they can have the superior flair or their flair, they're gonna push her to the moon, which is what they've been doing. We'll see, but that's my opinion. I think if she doesn't drop it before WrestleMania, only to win it back at WrestleMania, no, she's not. She's not losing it. She's not losing it. Quentin starting his own fan club. Yes, you got to free her. Watch her show up at the Rumble, and the announcers act like, wow, this is such a massive surprise. Here she is at the Royal Rumble. Andrew, I think that's the only person they want to beat that record. Look, all the guys who got close and haven't. John Cena, which I'm very surprised about. I really thought they would give it to Cena, but they didn't. They did not. I thought Cena would surpass him. Very surprised he didn't. I don't know if the pandemic, if COVID had something to do with it, if they had different plans, throughout that year and a half, or let's say potentially, yeah, a year to year and a half, where they had no fans. Maybe they didn't want Cena to break it, to break that record without an audience, without people in attendance. Maybe that played a role. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. You know what? Knowing WWE, Cena might come back in a year or two. Who knows? Look at Lesnar and look at the rumors regarding The Rock. I mean, The Rock, those rumors have been going on for 2 years. So that's something that could happen. That could happen. Gilson, I think Big E joked about her beating it by WrestleMania 38. Turns out he wasn't far off. Dude, she could probably break it before this WrestleMania, which I believe is 37. So, yeah. Andrew, at one point, Ric Flair was pushing for Cena and even Orton to do it. Yeah, and I don't know how much of that was legitimate. I think if you were to ask Ric Flair now, he's probably glad or happy that they didn't. Although, him and Vince, or him and the company, are not on the same page. And, he might be like, oh, I don't care about that. But I think deep down he does. I think deep down he does. Andrew, this year's 38. Okay. And this is what bothers me. Side note. This is what's been bothering me about WWE for like the past 10 years. They don't mention what WrestleMania is anymore. They really don't. They just say, oh, this year's WrestleMania, or welcome to WrestleMania. I remember as a kid, all of us growing up, it was whatever WrestleMania we were at, they would mention it. Welcome to WrestleMania 5, 6, 7, 8, 14, 15, 16, whatever it was. Although 16 was WrestleMania 2000, and 17 was X7, but you get what I mean. They would still mention what WrestleMania was. It's been 10 years. They're not mentioning it. Why? Why aren't they mentioning it? Is there a reason? I don't know. Joseph, can WWE drop Sonya the Authority and put her back in the ring? I consider costing Naomi the match next week. So I think we're gonna get that. I think Naomi's gonna do something to really get under Sonya's skin, where Sonya's not gonna be that authority, and we're gonna get a Naomi versus Sonya match. And like someone mentioned earlier in the chat, it's probably going to be at WrestleMania. Gil's fan, there you go. This one's 38. Not that WWE would tell you. And I think we did mention that. I remember that actually. Yeah, I remember that conversation now. Why not mention it? Like, it sounds old, but look at the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? It's something. It adds some prestige to it. It shows that this event has been going on for 37, 38 years. Why not? Why not? Andrew, they dropped the Roman numerals like the NFL did, which secretly Vince always wants to outdo the NFL. That is true. And I understand dropping the Roman numerals. I believe they dropped it after 17, if I'm not mistaken, or was it 15? I can't remember. We're still in the 15s, if I'm not mistaken, or no, they brought it back for 20. They brought it back for WrestleMania 20. But and I understand that, because maybe as a society we've moved on from the tradition, although we're talking centuries ago regarding Roman numerals. That's fine, but you could still write WrestleMania 21, 30, 35, whatever it is, just mention it. Brian, hey Brian, thank you for joining. He writes, it's because they want it to be all encompassing until it's a round number like 20, 30, or 40. Potentially that could be the reason, or one of the reasons. Although, not that I disagree, I don't, but I think Gil's fans' theory of, it sounds, Vince thinks it makes him sound old. I'm gonna go with that theory. And yeah, exactly, precisely. It's actually something to be proud of. But of course, Vince sees it in a way that no one else does. Gil's found the numbers and numerals were dropped after 30. Okay, there you go. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. See, I love this is why I love this show, because if ever I'm missing information or I say something I'm not entirely sure of or anything of the sort, you guys are here to correct me and give me that information. So thank you very much, Gil's fan. I wasn't sure. I thought it was 20 because I remember the logo for 21. It was actually a 2 and a 1. It wasn't XX1. But you're telling me 30, it's 30. Let's go with that. So WrestleMania 30 was the last time they used the Roman numerals. So that was Flair and Lita. And let me bring this back up here. Here we go. So my thoughts were, they're going to have Lita eliminate Charlotte at the Royal Rumble and have them fight at WrestleMania. If done right, and this is obviously it's a big statement, if done right, but if done right, this could be a good build-up. This could be a fun build-up. Someone mentioned Trish Stratus. You could talk about Lita's legacy, her being a Hall of Famer versus Charlotte Flair. This could be fun if done right. If done right. But who knows? They've been hit or miss. Although credit to creative, they've been they've been on fire lately. They've been on fire. Commercial break, and after that, Sheamus versus Ricochet. Yeah, this was your average television match. Nothing to write home about. Sheamus gets the win. And then we get another promo, another backstage segment involving Naomi, Sonya Deville, and Adam Pearce. Another one of those, oh, it's so hot. And then Adam Pearce goes to check with maintenance to see what's going on. Sonya takes off her jacket. In comes Naomi and tells her, oh, you took off your jacket. You're no longer the authority. She's kind of threatening her. In comes Adam Pearce. And that leads to absolutely nothing. That leads to absolutely nothing. Anyways, let's get back to the chat. Andrew, Sheamus versus Ricochet in a fight over you busted my buddy's nose match. Yeah. It was one of those matches. Brian, so is who shall not be named just out of the picture now, or is she hurt? Oh yeah, we're not mentioning her name. We are not mentioning her name. I believe she's hurt. And look, you never want to see anyone hurt or injured, but I hope she's off television until at least after the Rumble. I hope so. I truly hope so. Hopefully, that's all. I don't want to jinx it. Hopefully, she's off television until after the Rumble. Although if it were up to me, she would be out until at least WrestleMania. I know. I'm just not a fan. I'm not a fan. Although who knows? Maybe Bayley could come back at the Rumble. Bayley could be the potential surprise over whoever you're talking about, Brian, and we're not going to mention her name. Gil's fan, if it was so hot they could have just left the room during the matches. Yeah, but this is wrestling, Gil's fan. It's WWE logic. You're the authority. You're in a room. Oh my God, it's so hot. Well, you got two choices, or maybe three. One, play with the thermostat. Two, go check with maintenance. Or three, crazy idea. Like you mentioned, Gil's fan, you could leave the room, get another office, something, right? But it's WWE and it's creative. Andrew, why didn't Adam Pearce say something like, Sonya, you can't mess with Charlotte and Naomi's match next week? Because that would make too much sense. That would make too much sense. And we know it. We're getting Charlotte versus Naomi next week. Great, not a problem. Except, like you just mentioned, Andrew, or like you just kind of alluded to, we're going to get Sonya Deville that's going to interfere. And we're going to get another finish where, Naomi loses and it's because of Sonya. That's what we're going to get. Gil's fan says she was not doing anything anyway. Last we saw, she was Toni Storm's cheerleader for some reason. And Toni Storm is gone as well. Although, if rumors are to be believed, that was her decision. She left. But yes, she was Toni Storm's cheerleader. Andrew, who has a messed up ankle or something, and she's out for Rumble? I'm just saying, you hate to see anybody get hurt, but she should recover. Take all the time in the world to recover. Take your time. You don't have to come back. Corey Howell. Hello, Corey. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining, Corey. We are about halfway, or maybe just a little bit over halfway, covering SmackDown. Thank you for joining. If it's your first time here, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, we have a lot of stuff coming your way. And on Mondays, it's the Raw, right? Raw's on Monday. It's the live post show, Raw live post show with Mike Tedesco, Victoria Tedesco. You don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss their show, especially, right? We're getting into the Rumble. It's gonna be WrestleMania season, a lot of stuff. So you don't want to miss their show, and you don't want to miss this show as well. Andrew also can mention, like Mike Tedesco has said, that Adam and Sonya heels on SmackDown and faces on Raw. That's another thing as well. Almost as if they don't expect, or they don't think that their audience watches both shows. Like, do they know that it's the same company? And WWE fans, for the most part, tend to watch both shows, or at least the highlights of both shows. WWE's logic. WWE's logic. Brian, I know you already talked about it, but holy crap, the tag division on SmackDown is brutal without the New Day. Dude, it's brutal. Not just brutal. It's that bad. It's that bad. When the Usos came out earlier and they said we have a fatal four-way tag team match, I was thinking, who the hell's on SmackDown to have, like, do they have 4 other tag teams on SmackDown, not including the Usos and the New Day? Apparently they do. Yeah. Good for them. But yeah, it's been bad. It's been bad. But what hasn't been bad, and my friend here, Corey, agrees. He wrote Monday's show was good. So the Raw post show was good. You just watched it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the support, Corey. Thank you for support, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for showing up and for showing the love. Gil's fan, it's like when an NXT guy appears and Cole has to pretend he has no idea who they are. Yeah, that's a whole other one as well. Unless they show up at the Rumble. If they show up at the Rumble, suddenly the announcers know who it is. But if an NXT guy shows up and it's not the Rumble, they're like, whoa, who's this? We haven't seen this person before, right? But it's wrestling for you. It's wrestling for you. Andrew, we can't go out and find more women and tag teams. No, but one thing that could help solve this situation is actually if they end the brand split. But we're not going to talk about that right now. Although I am thinking of doing a separate show, not sure when, but a separate show where we talk about, I'm not going to say armchair booking, but stuff like that. Like, hey, let's talk about, what if they end the brand split? What could they do? What superstars would you really push if they were to do that? But this is something I've had in my head. We're working on a lot of stuff behind the scenes for Wrestleview, so keep your eyes open for that. Corey, yeah, and the actual Raw was really good. Raw's been solid lately. We spoke about this on the Raw post show the week before. Mike and Victoria spoke about it. Raw's been good lately. It's been since about the beginning of fall, since around October, November. Raw's been good. It's been solid, and at times even better than SmackDown. And you could potentially argue, although I'm not sure I would agree, but you could make an argument that, yeah, maybe Raw this week was better than SmackDown. Maybe. But one big advantage that SmackDown has is it's 2 hours. It's not 3. So automatically that helps a lot. Okay. Next up, let's bring this back up. Here we go. Next up, by the way, thank you everybody for joining. This is the SmackDown Post Show, episode 23. As I mentioned, 23, Michael Jordan's number, the GOAT. And we're going to talk about someone in just a couple of minutes who some people, or at least Pat McAfee, calls the GOAT, and that's Roman Reigns. But we're going to talk about him in just a couple of moments. But first, we have Kofi Kingston, who's in the ring, and he says, you know what? King Woods is out, so Xavier Woods is out of the Royal Rumble. He is injured, but Kofi Kingston will be in the Rumble himself. So Kofi Kingston will be in the Royal Rumble. It's going to be interesting to see how he evades elimination this time around. So every single year, Kofi does some crazy acrobatics to, save himself from getting eliminated. Let's see what it is this year. All right, Gil's fan. You had best stop numbering the post show after number 30, Roy. We'll see. We'll see. The thing is, I'm not doing Roman numerals, right? So already have that going for me, apparently. And we'll see if after 30 I'm going to stop, but not sure. Not sure. I might keep it going. I might keep it going. I like to keep track. I like to keep track. Um, Andrew, the annoying guys. Interesting that Moss got the win. Yes. And this leads to Kofi Kingston against Madcap Moss with Happy Corbin at ringside. And yeah, this was a match where I get it. We spoke about it, or we've spoken about this in the past, and Andrew mentions how they are annoying, and I agree. I agree. It just feels I don't know what they're gonna do with this. You have the Intercontinental title on Nakamura. They haven't done anything with that in what appears to be months, or at the very least, weeks. And you have Sami Zayn just floating there. You have what's it called? You have Madcap Moss. You have Kofi that could be going for the Intercontinental title now that Woods is gone. You have Corbin. You have Moss. They're not doing anything with these guys. It's down to the booking. It's really down to the booking. Corey, heard they're changing the Elimination Chamber name to like the WrestleMania Chamber. Are they doing that? Are they doing? There are some rumors I know about the Elimination Chamber coming back potentially next month in somewhere outside of the United States. I think you know what I'm talking about. But those are the rumors. Nothing official just yet. Just yet. Gil's fan, perhaps Kofi walks on the fans' head this year. What else can he do at this point? I don't know. Kofi's used the steel steps. He's used the announce table. He's used the barricade. He's used superstars to not get eliminated. The guy's creative, and his longevity. I mean, he's been in the company for 15, 16 years at this point. So longevity's there. He's still entertaining. The fans still love him, and the Royal Rumble tends to be his showcase. So we'll see what they do. We'll see what they do. Andrew, I guess it's the New Day versus the Annoying Guys when Xavier heals up. And Xavier's going to be out for a couple of weeks, right? I think 6 weeks or 7 weeks. So he's going to come back right before WrestleMania, about 2 or 3 weeks before WrestleMania, I think, or maybe 2 weeks. So we could get them at WrestleMania. Brian, poor Corbin was so much better than Happy Corbin. Poor Corbin was great. I know I didn't like him at first, but about 2 or 3 weeks into that, Baron Corbin character where, he went broke and this and that, he was a great watch. Very entertaining. Very entertaining. Much better than now. Much better than now. Gills fan, there's a stupid name change every week now. Everyone is still going to call it the Elimination Chamber. Yeah, of course. I mean, what else are you going to call it, right? Nothing else. Nothing else. Andrew, definitely. U.S. title, IC title. It's just sad. They're trying something with Damian Priest and the United States title. I'll say that much. At least they are trying. At least much more than what they're attempting to do with the Intercontinental title, if they're even attempting to do something with that. Gil's fan, hopefully Sami brings up the Intercontinental title a bit. We'll see. We'll see when is he going to get that title match. Is it going to be at the Rumble? Are they going to have it in February? Are they going to have it in, I don't know, is WrestleMania? They haven't mentioned anything. They have not mentioned anything about that. All right, so Madcap Moss versus Kofi Kingston, pardon me. Madcap gets the win. And then we get to the main event, which I was kind of looking forward to this one. This was a solid main event. I enjoyed this one a lot. So Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, obviously the history between them, the Shield. And one thing that I feared, and good thing they didn't do it, was I feared they would throw in Dean Ambrose's name in there, Jon Moxley. I feared they would go down that road. They didn't, which was great. I'm very, very happy about that. So you have Seth in the ring, out comes Roman Reigns, and Seth plays that whole, just for old time's sake, and then he puts his fist out for the Shield, and Roman says, "Oh, that's beneath me. That's beneath me." And then Seth just goes on this rant about, and this was a very good promo. This was a very good ending to the show, by the way. I thought this was great. Everybody in the chat, please let me know what you thought about the ending to the show. Um, so you had Seth and Roman, and Seth says, "Hey, let's acknowledge the look on Roman's face last week when I entered the room. I was the last person on earth you wanted to see." And Seth brings up a very valid point, which Michael Cole states himself. Seth talks about how Roman's track record against Seth in singles matches and in singles championship matches is bad. Seth has won every single match between them. Um, and then Roman kind of laughs and he says, have you been sleeping under a rock? I'm in God mode. So this was, Roman's time to kind of, talk his shit, to talk his shit. And he did. He said, I'm the tribal chief. I'm your head of the table. I'm the greatest of this generation, the greatest universal champion of all time, which makes me the greatest to ever do this. And Seth says, look, I didn't come out to rain on your parade. I came here to acknowledge Roman, acknowledge your success. And then Seth says, can you really look at yourself in the mirror and say that you've done this all by yourself? And then Seth talks about how, he helped Roman out during the Shield. When Seth was working up the ladder, Roman was in the CFL and this and that. So Seth really went all out. He really went all out. He said, I held your hand during the Shield. After we broke up with the Shield, look where I went. Look what happened to you. And, Seth asks him, do you truly understand who the greatest is? And Seth tells Roman, because I created you and I can destroy you. And Roman makes it personal. Roman makes it personal. Great promo. Great back and forth promo. Roman says, look, you're not the mega star I would have picked from Raw. You're not my pick from Raw. You're not even my pick from your family, from your household. You're not the mega star. He said, if it were up to me and I had to pick from someone from your family, I would pick your wife. So that was a very, very good promo, as I mentioned, between them both, between Roman and Seth. And he said, Roman says it, if I had to main event Royal Rumble with a mega star, I would choose your wife. He wouldn't choose Seth, he'd choose Becky Lynch. And this led to the Usos rushing and about to attack Seth from behind. Seth sees them coming, ducks, goes to the outside. They chase him to the outside. He gets away, gets back in the ring, goes face to face with Roman. The Usos enter the ring. Seth bolts out of there, and that's the end of the show. That was the end of SmackDown. So a very, very good main event segment. Anyways, probably my favorite part of the night. Seth and Roman. It did not go for too long. It went for about 9 minutes or so. But if you could find it, if you could watch it or YouTube or anything like that, it's worth watching. It's worth watching. And let's get back into this chat. Let's see what everybody here thinks. Let's see. All right, Gills fan writes, I predicted this could be a test of the crowd towards Roman versus a heel. He would have passed that test. Roman's been getting cheered for several months, no matter who he's been up against. He's been getting cheered, including against Lesnar. I mean, people love Lesnar and people will cheer Lesnar, but the same people that have been cheering Lesnar have also cheered Roman. So Roman's been getting cheered. Absolutely. Absolutely. Andrew, at first I was like, not this Shield garbage again, but then all the other stuff made things better. Kind of okay with Roman bringing up Becky because I know I would too. And this is one of those things where, it's not even a secret anymore. It's not an open secret. Everybody knows that Seth and Becky are married. They have a child together. So why not use it? Why not use it? Especially considering, Becky, who she is, the women's champion over on Raw and, the big time Becks and everything. So this was smart by Roman. This was smart like Roman. And Roman's the tribal chief. Andrew, just like our tribal chief. Thank you, Andrew. You are too kind. Way too kind. Gills fan says, Seth, who had Murphy, AOP, Austin Theory, KO, Roman should have brought that up. Authors of Pain. Wow, that seems like decades ago at this point. And Murphy, the less said about Murphy, the better. Austin Theory, yeah, We'll see. This is just getting started. This build up is just getting started for between Roman and Seth. I would imagine there's a lot more to come. A lot more to come. And Andrew writes, CFL and the Indies are kind of the same thing. Sorry, Seth. And Gil's fan, let's have Roman versus Becky and Seth versus Doudrop instead. You guys are great. You guys are great. Andrew, kind of weird, was hoping that at one point, if the Usos try to attack, here comes Kevin Owens to make the save, but maybe they don't want that at this point, or at least I don't think, for whatever reason, I do not think we're gonna get Kevin Owens interfering with Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. I think this one's gonna be strictly Seth on his own. I don't think Kevin gets involved, but we'll see. We'll definitely see about it. But I think we get Seth out alone on this one. And Gil's found out, I did not know that. So Kevin Owens' wife had COVID, so he's probably still off the show. I was not aware. I was not aware. And yep, definitely, Andrew, definitely. So this was SmackDown. That was the ending. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I tweeted out that was a solid promo between Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. Roman was good, but Seth made some great points and looked strong coming out of it. This build-up is starting off great. And ultimately, thoughts on the show. A good SmackDown with lots of Royal Rumble build-up. And the build-up to and good build-up, right? So lots of Royal Rumble build-up and good. The Usos had a great promo. Aaliyah's getting a push. Interesting to see what happens with that. Lita's going to get another run. Adam Pearce and Sonya have something with their office, because I'm not, I don't want to believe that it's just Naomi playing with the thermostat. And the main event was great as well. So I give this show a thumbs up. And by this show, I mean SmackDown. But hey, I give this SmackDown Post Show a thumbs up. If for anything, just for you guys are great. So definitely big thumbs up to everybody here, everybody in the chat, and everyone that joined us today. So I think SmackDown was a thumbs up. I enjoyed it. What does everybody here think? Andrew, good SmackDown, Rumble build-up, and Mania hints. Also good post show. Hey, it's a good post show because of you guys. Because of you guys. You all make it great. Brian, not a terrible show, but no Brock came in, made it feel a little less buzz. Yeah, almost as if something was missing. It felt like something was missing. But, for the most part, I thought it was solid. I thought it was a good show. And Andrew writes, thumbs up. Yes, Quentin, this was a good SmackDown. 4 stars. So Quentin, very, very generous there. 4 stars from Quentin. And Andrew, kind of glad no Brock and Heyman can overdo that too much. Yeah, that's also another possibility. Keep him off SmackDown a little bit. Although I think they advertised Lesnar for Raw. I believe they advertised Brock Lesnar for Raw. I'm not entirely sure. But if he's on Raw, it makes sense not to always have him on SmackDown, especially if he's going to be feuding with Bobby Lashley going into the Rumble. So that would make sense. That would make sense. All right, everybody. So this was a great post show. This was a good SmackDown. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. It's been fun. There you go. I love it. Absolutely love it, Quentin. Post show about 1 billion out of 10. Great. Thank you, Quentin. Gil's fan, thumbs up for Sami, Roman, and Pat air guitaring. Yes, lots of thumbs up. Lots of thumbs up on SmackDown tonight, and thumbs up to you. Thumbs up to everybody that joined us. Thumbs up to you if you're watching us. Thank you. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. We are back on Monday. Mike Tedesco, Victoria Tedesco. It's the Raw Post Show live right here on YouTube and on Facebook, and on Friday as well. It's the SmackDown Post Show. So thank you, everybody, for watching. My name is Roy Nemer of Wrestleview.com. We're back on Monday. SmackDown, Raw, SmackDown, Rumble. We got a lot of stuff coming your way. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Brian, acknowledge Roy. I acknowledge everybody. I acknowledge you guys. Gil's fan, glad you're back regularly. Roy, thumbs up for post SmackDown. Thank you. Thank you. Good to be back. Very good to be back, Gil's fan. I appreciate the kind words, buddy. I really, really do. All right. So my name is Roy Nemer of Wrestleview.com. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Be safe and post show on Raw, then post show on SmackDown. We got a lot of stuff coming your way. Thank you, everybody.